Hey friends, we're Clifton and Lee and we've been touring Italy in a hired motorhome in our first attempt at Vanlife.
We've just spent the night in the Dolomites at the base of a shut-down cable car in the small mountain town of Ortisei, also called Alm if you're German-minded.
In this episode, we try our best to see the sights despite everything being closed between seasons, and we get stuck on the mountain with no gas.
I think by now we'd get that right.
Hey Fan,
Hey Finn,
good morning. It is
day Wednesday of week 2.
9:17 in the morning. We are leaving our van here at the base of the cable car, which isn't working, in the town of
Ortisei or Alm.
Ortisei. And look at the leaves on the ground, how they have frosted over. And they're all over the place. And we are going to...
Those are the Dolomites. Look at them.
We are going to head to the next town called
Ortisei.
But to do that we need to go find a bus, and it's cold. I need to return my hands to their pockets quickly, otherwise they're going to fall off.
Someone didn't bring his gloves with.
At this point I realized I was drastically underdressed and promptly headed back to the van to put on something a little more appropriate.
5 minuti dopo.
Round 2. We have returned to the van to get my gloves and my beanie and my bigger jacket.
Realised he was a little too skimpily dressed for this weather.
But it is very cold.
Even me up with thicker gloves.
I think it's about 4 or 5 degrees.
Yeah, it was 2 when we woke up.
Yes. And it must have dropped down to 0 overnight, because we are seeing puddles that have frozen over.
Yeah. I'll show you one shortly. This one coming up.
There. That is a frozen puddle right there. See that? Yeah. So I think I'm now satisfied I'm properly dressed.
Better dressed, not
Properly dressed.
better dressed. Ortisei gets over 6 million visitors a year. Although very small, its local population speaks mostly German first language due to its close proximity to Austria.
Hello everyone.
Hey, Van.
We are halfway up the hill on our way to that
St. Valentin
church over there, and this is where we are. It's a very steep hill, and I know I promised that Lion said would probably be our last endurance video, but alas, it looks like I was wrong. This one will be our last endurance.
Wish us luck.
High on the meadows of Ortisei stands the tiny church of Saint Valentin. For more than 700 years, this little chapel has welcomed shepherds, farmers and travellers seeking a quiet moment in the mountains.
Surrounded by some of the most spectacular peaks in the Dolomites, it's easy to see why this peaceful spot is one of the area's most photographed landmarks. Sometimes it's the smallest buildings that tell the biggest stories.
And now we're taking a different path to get back to our van, which could turn out badly. We all know what happened last time we tried to take a different path.
It's a different Italy to what we've seen so far.
Van. Right, we're back from that little hike. We cannot find a bus to find our way to Ortisei, so we're just going to take the van.
Yeah. We even asked the one bus driver and he sadly shook his head.
And said,
No.
Right, this is the part here which I was worried about because there's ice on the road. So we're going to keep this van into a high gear. We're not going to touch the brakes. And we're just going to come down this quite slowly.
We managed in our tackies just now, but we watched a lady slip slide her way down, so anyone's guess.
Well, I'm going to have to apply some brake.
I hope no one's got on the other side. Yeah.
But so far so good.
It's Bubba to guide you.
Bubba's here to guide me, or to kakasa. Kakat is South African for reprimand.
Shout it.
Look up ahead, look how covered in frost this bit of road is.
And that is slippery.
This is what was worried me. Just listen to this is what was worrying me. Then Bub comes up here with his huge wheels. No issue at all.
Zooming along. Because we don't think we have winter tires, you see.
We don't have winter tires, no. But that wasn't too bad. We kind of made this is like a parking there. Last bit to try. Because this side of the mountain is in complete shadow.
Coming to the sunshine.
Because of the mountain.
Yeah. Mr. Dolomites is quite tall.
I think we survived that.
Yay! Positively.
This is probably not this van's first rodeo on ice.
No. I need 2.5 to Castelrotto. That's where the bus would have gone.
Okay, off we go. And this is a nice bit of sun over here.
That's complete contrast.
Don't know what that means though.
There was a sign for St. Valentin's, which is the church that we
And cable cars.
Yeah.
And I think it was all crossed out because everything is closed. Right, we're I would say at the top of a little thingamajig. Oh, look at those cows.
Oh my.
I don't think we should have any issues going under this. I think we're good. LPD Susie. Look at that thing on top. Do you think that's a wood-fired jacuzzi on top too? Son bitch. Romantic hotel.
Wellness and spa.
Oh my. Oh dear.
Book in there. Don't need a vehicle.
Yep. If that's where our destination, then wow. Wow, wow, wow. If we come back here in the middle of winter and it's snowing, I'm not driving shit. I'm not driving. I'll get the locals to drive me.
There are buses all along here.
Yeah, we'll take the bus. Oh my word. I'll tell you what, this trip has, I would say, upped my driving skills.
Oh yes.
By a few points. You can drive here.
Yeah.
You can drive anywhere, except in Rome.
Agreed. No one can drive in Rome. Only the Romans drive Rome. Well, are there statues?
Statues in a barn that's just sitting open.
One is 20
to go too fast on here because I want to hit some ice and then. But as you can see, the locals don't seem to be bothering unless they've got their tyre thingamajigs on. Oh, look at this. They call this a hairpin bend where we come from, or a switchback. No one behind us. Because if there's, they're going to have to wait. Yo, look at that view. Oh my goodiness. Grass my ass. Oh no, another one. Oh, I'm slaloming around these corners.
Slaloming indeed.
Yes, who said we weren't going to go skiing?
We are slaloming
Except
around.
we're skiing in the car.
Yeah, slaloming around the corner.
Slalom, here comes slalom number 3. Oh dear, look at that. Oh my goodness.
Wow. I mean, if you're on skis at the top, you're not going to stop.
Nothing's stopping you, yeah, except for the pole. That's going to stop you quite hard. That's how you'll get pole position.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my word.
4 more minutes, 2.4 Ks.
The GPS here in Italy, 4 minutes equals 30 minutes. An Italian minute is not a standard minute. My goodness. If I'm...
This is 3 minutes.
Here we are in Ortisei.
Ortisei?
Ortisei. I just don't know what to say, Ortisei. Okay, after some fiffing and faffing about, we think we're coming right. We're trying to make it to the Cicada cable car parking. There it is there. That is a dead end. And I don't think the cable cars are working. And
This is where we need to be though, to see that. So.
yeah, there's one just sitting up there, not doing anything. A cable car.
Okay.
But there's parking where we can happily park
Yeah.
and then maybe explore the town nicely.
Yes. With these little tags, what are they doing?
And it's €280 an hour, but maybe that's in season. Let's have a look see. Look at them being very smell. There's a cable car up there just sitting.
Yeah. We'll need a photo of that.
Cinque minuti dopo.
Okay, so we are returning back to our previous parking by the shutdown cable car. We're pretty disappointed with Ortisei. There was lots of stuff open except for the cable car, but we couldn't find parking. There was parkings for the size of the van at the cable car, but they wouldn't let us in. They do seem to be very anti-motorhome, and which is disappointing. It's a pity, rather.
It's a pity. Is it a pity though?
Yes, it is. I mean, it's like they didn't want us to stop and visit the town. I wanted to come and spend money in your town, but no. You can't park here, you can't park there. You can't park. Their loss. Anyways, back to our parking. And from there, we're going to hike in inverted commas, to a supermarket that we saw to get a baguette so we can have hot dogs for lunch. And we still have to figure out what we're doing for dinners. Hey Vince. Quite a bit has happened since we last spoke. It is now 7 o'clock. All the bells in the valley have gone off. But a couple of hours ago we realised our gas had run out in the van. So we're in battery conserving mode and there's no gas, which means we can't cook and we can't heat the cabin. We went for a panicked drive up and down the street looking for gas, but they apparently don't have LP gas in Italy. So yeah, we're in a bit of a pickle, a bit of a situation, but we've got no choice but to sit the night out. It's going to get down to 0 degrees tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock. It is cold outside. We've had to run the engine for 10 minutes just to warm the interior, and then we're going to have to go to sleep and we're in all our jackets, and hopefully hopefully by tomorrow, but otherwise everything looks fairly pretty.
Yeah.
So we're keeping our spirits up. We've also got some medication over there to keep our blood warm. And we'll see you in the morning. We'll speak then if we survive the evening. Yay! Bathe-in! An update on the crisis power cold heating issue.
Yeah.
So as we showed you before, and we did show you before, there's a second bed in the camper.
Yeah.
So
We used to sleep here.
there's the old bed, and now we've made our new bed, the elevated one, up here. And if you look down there, there's the cockpit over there, see? So we're sleeping up here because we are
Clever.
both scholars of science and hot air risers.
Yes.
So we want to be near the roof.
Yes.
Where there goes my science degree. Where the hot air collects.
Yes.
And hopefully by that way we'll last the night.
Also, we are not plugged into electricity, so we've got our little coloured lights, and maybe from that light we'll get a little bit more warmth. We'll see. No? We'll see. Oh, and to get up there, they've given us this handy ladder. So we'll be being very adventurous going to bed.
Yes. See, I don't want to wake up and fall in the kitchen sink. Again, it's not my first rodeo.
There is a barrier we could put up, like on that side, but
Yeah.
we kind of need to hook the ladder on to get up.
So if you had a family of 4, the kids would sleep on here, up there, and you don't want them falling into the sink. Kitchen sink. Okay.
See you in the morning.
We'll let you know how it goes.
Bathe in.
Bathe in. We survived the night.
Hey!
But we don't want to do another night like that. So we're getting off the mountain.
Yay!
Heading.
Bit of warmth down below.
Yes, and with no gas, we got no breakfast, so we're just going to head down to an autogrill.
Yes, and get some coffee and whatever we can find to eat, because we did not sleep very well.
No, so goodbye to the Swiss, the
Alpe de Suisse.
the Alpe de Suisse. Maybe we'll be back again when everything is open.
Yay!
Alright, so we're on our way to, and I've developed a very sore throat, so I'm probably coming down with something
Something Italian.
in the last 2-3 days of our trip.
Yeah.
But we've stopped at a life-saving auto grill, which has got us a coffee there.
Yay!
But another first is they have a PowerPoint for the van. So now we're doing a much needed charge because everything is running low, including our spirits.
Yeah. See the sign? Blah blah. Camper.
There it is. Oh, there we go. Can charge your van plug in your van here, so that's very
And the coffees were much cheaper than at Hermes, our previous stop, where we had a much needed first. This is a much needed second, and we have
a chicken burger for
chicken cotoletta,
€8,
Yeah.
which is pricey, but for an auto grill for a freeway stop it's not too bad. That we can share this.
Yeah. Yay! So we're just recharging batteries and self, and then we'll be back on the road. And there's sunshine, so things are a bit warmer.
Yeah, it's a bit warmer. It was too damn cold on top of that mountain.
Yeah, -2, I think.
For there not to be any snow. It's going to be that cold. Make it fun and give us some snow. But no. I mean, seriously. I mean, what is this? Bloody child. Switzerland. It's not, you know, it's not even Italy up there anymore.
It is.
Technically it is, but it's all German.
Pretty much Austria, yeah, or Switzerland.
Yeah, it's taken over by the Germans.
Anyway, we enjoyed ourselves. We did. We just have sore throats.
We got sore throats, and yeah, we still haven't resolved the gas problem.
Yeah.
We'll look into that.
We'll be seeing about that.
Or the focus problem.
Yes, look at that. Focus.
We need to focus.
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 There was no snow, but there was a chance of wolves. Did you know that there are many, many, many wolves in and around the Italian wildlife? And we were in the foresty bit where they may well have been roaming. We didn't see any. We did see some squirrels, brown ones, not the grey London ones, but yeah, there you go.
If you're wondering what all that noise is in the background, we're right next to a highway.
Yeah, that's the auto grill for you.
The autogrill and the autostrada.
Yeah. Beeping.
Beeping.
Self-service petrol even means washing the windows yourself. Look at that guy go. Yay! Clearer view for you thanks to Hamburg. Thanks, Hamburg.
So, did your phone get another message about how much that cost?
No, still just reserved for purchase.
Okay, well, we just put in €50 of petrol in, not 2,000 rands worth.
We think. This was a 1.68, if you can see that. 1.68 per litre, and we put in just under 30 litres.
Hey Fen, we have arrived at our campsite for the night, and we are camping tonight in the town of Monzambano.
Monzambano.
Yes, we are. It is now a pleasant 15-16 degrees, and we love this campsite. Have a look around, and there's other campers. We've got power, we've got hot showers, we've got toilets, other than the one in the van, and it's just a very nice campsite. It is, sorry, it's the pilot and me. Show you that guy up there. I've mentioned it before, but in South Africa you never see contrails like you do up here on this side of the world. Yeah, so this campsite out of season this time of year, €6 a night. Very, very worth it. And at the entrance there's a snack machine and a coffee machine. A macchiato is only 60 pence. Oh, and now that we're out of gas, we've only got 2 more nights in the van, so we're not going to bother refilling the gas. It just means we can't cook we can't brew coffee. Now you would think that can't cook coffee, that is catastrophic.
Indeed. But it's not, because there's a machine here. Did he already tell you?
Yes, there's a coffee machine here for 60 pence. And we're not going to go looking to refill a gas bottle if we only got this thing for 2 more nights.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense.
No.
But yeah, moods are Lifted. Spirits are lifted.
Yeah.
I'm even feeling a bit better, but we'll see tonight.
You did take some meds, so maybe that helps his sore throat.
Yes, it always helps taking meds.
This is not the meds I'm talking about, by the way.
And it is what I'm talking about. Anyways. And now we're going to go for a walk around because I believe, as in typical Italian style, there's a castle nearby.
Castello.
We're having much better luck with castles this time than we did in the UK on the narrowboat.
Yeah, we found one in Wales that was closed, but let's see.
Let's have a look.
Here we go.
Okay, as usual. Hey, Fins.
Hey, Ben. Ciao, amici.
We've settled down and now we're going for a walk around the neighbourhood to try and find that castle.
Yeah.
Cue the hunting castle music.
They're both friends. Con Orsi. No. I'm Orsi. They're in this castle.
And that's as close as we can get. There's the castle there. And there's a sign that says residents only.
We can keep going this way, though.
Let's have a look see.
Hey fans,
Shame. Listen to Croaky McCroakerson over here.
listen to Croaky McCroakerson. We had a very bad night, and yes, I'm very ill. We have 174 kilometers to travel to get to not our next campsite. We're gonna try and go straight to Indie Campers, where we can see if we can get another gas bottle or a quarter of a gas bottle, because we've only got one more night in this van, and we cannot do another night without heat.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to buy a whole new cylinder
For one night.
for one night, and we can't afford it. So wish us luck. Now it's just survival, and
Stretch.
the adventure continues. Yes, one more night and then to the airport. Hey Finn, update. Indie Campers were nice enough to give us a half full cylinder that another hirer had only half used. So right now we've got our half cylinder, so we are good for heat this evening, and we're going to travel half an hour south to a free rest stop, which also has the cleaning facilities needed before we can give the van back first thing in the morning.
Yeah, because it's not just giving the van back clean, we have to empty all the waste, and that's what we need the facilities for. Can't just do that at the side of the road or at a petrol station, unfortunately. Un'ora dopo.
We found the free parking we were looking for, settled down for the evening, and give the van a clean.
Hey Finn, we're finally boiling our sausages.
As we have gas. I am laid up in bed with a sore back because we are in our midlife after all, unfortunately.
Sore back and out of focus.
Oh, that's
Hey,
not my fault.
hey, shall focus.
Better?
No, hey,
Oh,
focus. Ah, no,
we tried.
the focus on this camera is terrible. Anyways, right, so for this week's culinary, the said saucies, boiling water, because we've got, well, not boiling yet, but we need to do that. But yeah, this is very straightforward. You just boil them and then put them on rolls. But best we could find was these, seeing as we're in Italy. these Italian rolls, which can do a lot of damage. But yeah, we'll show you the end result.
And for some flavour, we've got mustard. Yay!
Hold on a second.
There, is that better?
Yes.
Good.
For some flavour, we have this. We didn't know if it was mustard to begin with.
We had to ask the shopkeeper.
We had to ask them, the people. The people being the Italians. They call them Orco. Senape.
The option was a toothpaste-like tube or these little sachets, so we went with this.
Senape apparently is mustard in Italian. Senape. Senape. Doesn't look a very rich yellow, but I think proper mustard isn't supposed to look a very bright yellow.
No.
But there it is. And
that's it. And we have some limone drink to have it with to finish off our supplies as we head back home tomorrow. So we need to empty the van.
yeah, so next you'll see us, we'll be heading back to the airport after dropping off this thing.
With hopefully no issues.
With hopefully no issues.
The next morning we successfully dropped off the van and waited for an Uber to take us to the airport in the pouring rain.
Hey Vince, we're here at Malpensa International Airport and we're at the, what's the lounge called? The classic one.
Yeah.
Starts with a P. And we got in using the Visa Airport Companion app. Yes, that is correct. We have the whole lounge to ourselves. Lots of coffee, as you would expect, being Italy. Yes, we are the only ones in the lounge.
Hey Finn, there's us, and there is Hapka. Has arrived, so probably a little late, but we will get there.
Hey Finn!
Hey Vin!
That was our Italian trip. Here we are, back home in South Africa, nice and safe. But what this is right now is just a quick recap from us. Our thoughts.
Yeah, and suggestions and tips for you if you're planning a similar vacation.
Let's start off with regrets. Off the top.
Oh my goodness, so many things we didn't even get close to because we were in a van and the roads were just too small. And then also time-related issues, we just didn't get to certain towns because we didn't have enough time. So my biggest one was the old city. We got to Bagno di Reggio and you're supposed to travel across the footbridge to get to the actual old dead town. And you heard in the video the church bell chiming for 3 o'clock and we had to be in Rome by, I think we said 6, but it took us about 4 hours to get there, so we were already running late. But that was something I had wanted to do and we just didn't. So we got our ice cream and got in the car and headed on to Rome. So that's mine.
And yes, it was £5 for us to get across to the dead city.
Yeah, that's another reason it wasn't just time, it was also
Big euros, not pounds.
Euros.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So we had spent that much on our ice cream cones.
Yes, and looking back, I mean, what's €5 just to get into the dead city after we've travelled?
We won't tell you how many kilometers, but it was quite a distance just to get there.
That's one regret. For me, the time of year that we went. We went right in that
dead zone. For example, Ortisei, those cable cars are all open in the middle of summer and the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And we happened to go when everything was in between seasons and closed.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is lots of that we've seen filmed for the Olympics this year, so we could have been right there in the same spot, but yeah, it's fine. We'll just have to go back for that.
Another big regret for us was completely bypassing the Amalfi Coast.
Yes.
Now that was on the plan to go down it, but a number of factors, time, and then the realization of trying to take a camper van down the Amalfi Coast, it was not feasible.
Yeah.
And it's just another excuse for us to try and get back there and do the Amalfi Coast justice.
Exactly. And you were saying if we had a scooter on the back of the van, that would have been ideal, because we could have camped somewhere up where there was space for us and then just taken that down to see the coast. But yeah, as I said, no reasons to go back. Another regret I've just thought of now, we hardly used any public transportation in Italy. We were on the train from the airport to our camper van pickup point. Even there we had to sort of get another way of transport out of things. It was a public holiday, so the usual options were very limited. Luckily we had someone offer us a lift with his friend's transport, and it worked out fine.
The public transport was that big double-decker train that took us to the van. We used a bus to get a little bit into Portofino, and then we walked back.
Yes.
We used another bus in Rome to get to the Colosseum. Rome, don't get me started on Rome. I might be persuaded to go back to Rome one day to really experience the food sector.
We didn't get anywhere close to that either. That's across the bridge, I believe, Trastevere, where everyone goes for the food, and we just stuck close to the Colosseum because we got there so much later than we thought we would after the whole road trip from Bagnoregio that we've mentioned. The traffic was a nightmare. It's almost like they didn't want vans on the road at all. They kept trying to push us out, edge us out.
Look, this is where the Italian tourism department, you need to invite us, sort us out, give us a night or 3 in Rome to really experience it.
Yeah.
And that'll take us to our next segment, our next tips. If you are thinking of motorhoming through Italy, right? Indie Campers is a perfectly fine company to go to. Do not expect luxury. Those vehicles are not luxurious. You're not doing it for the experience of the camper van itself. You are doing it to experience camper vanning in Italy. There are far more expensive companies to go to, which will give you, or where you will hire a much nicer motorhome. Okay, but it was a very basic motorhome. And if you're going to camper van Italy, you must have a smaller mode of transport hitched on the back. Bicycles, scooter, electric scooter, anything, because that motorhome it's very restrictive. You can only park it in certain areas, and everywhere you go, you have to pay for parking.
And that's in addition to the toll roads. So if you are going on the wider roads where you can fit your van, you're going to pay for that. But then you also can't get close enough to where you want to be, because those are all accessed by the smaller roads. And that's where we just couldn't get to with the camper van. So I think we're doing a lot of the regret side of things.
One of those is Mount Vesuvius. We couldn't get very close to that because of the camper van. We tried to pull off and we almost got stuck under a bridge. Which brings us to the navigation. If you're camper vanning in Italy, or anywhere for that matter, do not use
Google Maps.
Google Maps. You can do that in South Africa. There, we've got nice wide roads and wide cities. But yeah, Google Maps, as you saw in the videos, earlier on videos, the Google Maps was trying to take us down roads that I wouldn't take my lawnmower. So there are actually apps, navigation apps out there with this in mind. Google Maps does not take the size of your vehicle into account. We found Copilot very good, but Copilot was the first one we landed on, and that did a sterling job and pretty much told us, you're not getting off this highway, not for a long time.
And that's not Microsoft Copilot, that is the Copilot app. It's a completely separate thing. Beyond that, the Park for Night app is very, very handy. You can see before you get close if there are suitable spots for your camper van. So you're not just parking at the side of the road hoping for the best. It's an actual spot where you're expected to park. Time of year, we mentioned there were a few negatives, but that's one of the positives, that lots of it was out of season. So even a few places we expected to pay for the night, on leaving, the boom was just raised and we got to leave. Even places with electricity, all the luxuries you would have expected to pay for.
And that wasn't taking a chance, it was a legitimate, you don't have to pay, it's that time of year.
One thing about motorhomes that is convenient, of course, is the fact that everything's in one spot. So you can just pack up, close all the doors, make sure everything is nice and secure, and off you go. Things are still going to open and roll around though, so make sure that you don't have big heavy bottles in the fridge that are going to knock on the door.
And our van was very rickety.
Yes.
And the shower didn't work.
And the toilet was a bit of a...
The toilet was an
nightmare too.
absolute pain.
Yeah.
And we said to ourselves, oh, we're just going to do number ones in the toilet. Not the other thing. We're going to do that outside at stops.
Not
at
outside in the campground.
public restrooms.
Yes.
That's where we would go to the auto grill.
Yes, exactly.
A very quick cost and distance rundown. We calculated, now this is extremely plus minus.
Yeah.
Oh, we could be out by 500 kilometers.
Yeah.
We calculated we traveled in total about 2,500 kilometers. We spent about 8,000 Rand on petrol.
Yeah, so that was a big expense over and above the camper van hire in the first place, of course. You're saving there because you don't have to fork out for hotels along the way. But it all adds up along with the petrol, the tolls, and then, yeah.
Yeah. Basically what I've learned, there are two ways to really explore a country. Now, this is not a organized tour group or something like this. It's either a camper van with the tips that we've just mentioned, a little bit of transport at the back, right? Or a little car that will get you anywhere, and then you sleep overnight at all the cheap little hotels and motels and hostels.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that's what we're going to try next. Where do you think?
You tell us.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. So that was our first van life trip too. We don't have anything else to compare it to. The only other form of transport that was different to a self-driven car that we've done was the narrowboat. So comparing that is very interesting.
The big question is, do we prefer narrowboating?
Or motorhome.
It's a clear winner for me.
Yeah, me too.
Narrowboating. Biggest culture shock. This was the first time either of us had visited Italy.
Yeah.
And for me, the biggest culture shock was this whole afternoon. A lot of the little towns we would get to where we're staying for the night, completely dead, middle of the afternoon. Now, I don't know, all right, is it going to liven up later or is it going to stay this dead?
Yeah.
Because everyone goes to sleep in the afternoon and wakes up again at 5 or so. And I don't know how late the businesses stay open till.
Yeah, exactly. So we tried a few of them. We stuck around waiting for restaurants to open. A few did and a few didn't. And that's just not the way that we're used to doing things, because everywhere we've been on holiday and even here in Cape Town, things don't close for that amount of time. You're relying on tourists to spend money, not just tourists, locals too.
And it did seem to be, to me, very anti-motorhome, especially in the towns around the Dolomites.
Yeah.
They don't like tourists spending money in their town. That's what I have found. You're not allowed to park here.
Yeah.
No, you can't park there.
Yeah.
No, get out of our town. They didn't really say that, but I could feel it.
Yeah.
It was coming from all sides.
I think that segues nicely into the town we most enjoyed, seeing as we've spoken about what we have most not enjoyed.
The biggest surprise and the biggest pleasure was Este.
Yay!
Now, what saddens me is this was a completely random town that we decided to sleep in overnight, and now I am sure there are many, many, many towns like this.
Yeah.
It was a complete hidden gem for us.
Everything about it, from the little lights that were strung up, looked like Christmas lights, to just the way that was one of the few places that was up and open. We got there I think at 4 in the afternoon and almost every shop was open. People were actually going in to buy things and to eat things. You weren't limited to lunchtime or extreme late dinners.
And Este was the town where this one finally indulged in the gelato culture.
It took me, I think, a week and a half to start my gelato experience, and once I started, I almost didn't stop. We had, I think, 3 that day, and from then on, it was much more frequent.
5.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Somewhere
Who's
there.
counting?
Our second favorite town, or our second favorite stop, was
Pisa.
Pisa was a lot of fun.
It was. Really enjoyed that. We were starting to understand Italy by then, I think. So we had the initial shock of arriving and no one speaking English and things being closed when we didn't expect them to be. We had gone through Portofino, which was super expensive. We just didn't stop off for food because the one place we thought we could eat at didn't want to serve us what we wanted to eat, so we moved on.
And we had gnocchi. We had gnocchi in Pisa.
Yeah, exactly. And it was such a pretty town. It was, I think we were at the university side, so there were lots of tree-lined streets.
We were walking at night one night
Yeah.
in Pisa, and then this high school, what would you call it? Sorority?
I don't know, fraternity, like a
They all
hazing thing.
had come and did a big march and fireworks and
Yeah.
crackers and singing and dancing and like...
Yeah, we followed them for a bit. We didn't film because we just didn't.
I thought I was.
He did. We were annoyed to discover we
And then I
hadn't.
realised it wasn't filming. Like,
Yeah.
damn it!
Yeah,
Merde. Wait,
Yeah.
that's French.
yeah, that's French.
We really enjoyed the food in Italy.
Yeah.
It was the best pizza I've ever had. But something that I found fascinating is, well, the 2 pizza places we had pizza from, they don't slice them into
Yeah.
triangles. They just give it to you and you need to figure it out.
Yeah, so obviously you're not going to pick up the whole frisbee and take a bite, so that's interesting. And
They're big on artichokes.
yes, it's a big topping choice.
Was it
there.
artichokes?
Yes,
Yeah.
artichokes. And everyone tells you don't go places where they have translated the menu because that usually means it's not as good. It's not authentic Italian. But we really needed to know what we were eating, so yeah.
Croissants. Thousands of croissants in Italy,
Cornetto.
everywhere. But yes, in Italy they call them cornetto. Where we come from, cornetto is ice cream.
Yes. So that was something. Speaking of cornetto, that's what you had to have for breakfast at the McDonald's because that's all they offered. And that was one of the moments that I thought was quite interesting. I thought McDonald's would have similar type of options everywhere you are around the world, but
You found it interesting, I found it disappointing.
he did.
Come on, Italy. Egg McMuffins. With it.
One thing we really enjoyed was the coffee though. The coffee culture is great. You don't end up with a bad coffee ever anywhere in Italy. They can be really pricey though. We paid about €4 for one espresso. I think it was at Hermes, and that was one of the roadside stops that we were quite desperate for coffee. One thing we really enjoyed was the mocha pot. So that was in our van. We then just had to go buy filter coffee and then quickly learn how to make it ourselves. And we enjoyed it so much that we bought our own mocha pot when we got home. And here it is.
This would be her colour, you see.
Yeah.
Speaking of the food, something I found surprising in the supermarkets, Coca-Colas are more expensive than beers.
Yes.
Beers are so cheap.
Yeah.
Like €1.50 for
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. In the supermarkets and the restaurants, we did not have any cans of cold drink, ever.
And I think spirits in general, in all the supermarkets, quite cheap.
Yeah.
Very cheap compared to elsewhere around the world.
Indeed.
Yes. So yes, we will be back Italy.
Yeah.
But there's a few more places we'd like to visit first.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, Italian tourism industry come hit us up. Come, give us a call.
And Vanlife, would you do that again?
We will probably try Vanlife again, but in the States.
Yeah.
It was such a shock for me in that if you had to try van life here in our country, it's fine. You can do it. You can hire camper vans. But you can park on the beachfront here, Bloberg beachfront. All the parking's free. You're not going to have a problem like you have in Italy. Yeah, so that's it. We're going to be jetting off to our next destination. If you aren't already, please like, please subscribe. And if you guys want to support us, you can visit our
Coffee page.
coffee page, because we like coffees.
Yes, we really do. Please buy us a coffee to keep us on the road, in the air. And let us know if you want us to go anywhere else that we haven't yet been, because we're open to suggestions.
Beefing!
Beefing! Midlife out!
Here we go again.
Sorry, I don't know.
Holsmere was voted the best.
No, don't do that. I even forgot about that. The 6th best time, yes.